Imagine that you're a small or medium-sized business owner, and like many businesses today, the internet is a fundamental and growing part of your revenue. Now imagine that in the age of information, where customers want to know the finer details of the supply chains of the products they're buying, how do you keep up with the likes of Amazon, Walmart, and other large retailers, who actually have the economy of scale behind them which enables capital investment into systems which give customers the information they want? For example, where was the salmon I'm about to eat caught, and which company collected the fish, and who delivered it, and was it stored at an appropriate temperature, and were the conditions sanitary, and so on? Anyway, before we get any further, if you're not yet a subscriber, then consider becoming one and ticking post notifications to gain immediate access to more content like this. It may sound kind of strange for us listening today that a customer would want this kind of information. I mean, you go into a restaurant today and they may not even know who cooked the food, it's so unorganized. But for a very long time now, the macro trend has been that consumers are demanding and getting more and more information about the products they're purchasing, and not just in the food industry, but in every industry. Being an online business owner myself, I know that like millions of other small and medium-sized organizations around the world, there's just no way that I can compete on price or shipping time with the larger retailers. And so if I want to stay in business, and in many cases not just stay afloat, but actually thrive as well, I have to focus on providing quality and value in ways which only small businesses can do. I have to provide products which are locally sourced or handmade, or which are customized and unavailable to be purchased in bulk, and therefore unavailable for resale by the larger retailers. But actually, even if I do find myself a nice cozy niche area to operate within, and I make all of my products by hand and so on, I still have to get my materials from somewhere, and I still have to use a third-party courier. Now, if larger retailers can use their scale to build systems that give customers more and higher quality information, all of a sudden the primary advantage which I was competing on, namely having a smaller supply chain with more of a guarantee of quality, is heavily diminished. And of course, as a small business, it's completely unfeasible for me to create my own supply chain management system, and so in fact the only real way for me to be able to restore the balance and level the playing field is to use a third party. Another platform which can enable my customers to benefit from the same level of information as the customers of a Fortune 500 company would. And as far as supply chain management platforms go, VeChain is, in my opinion at least, easily the #1 platform operating in the blockchain space. As an online business owner and an individual who has done a lot of research in the e-commerce space in the process of setting up and running my business, I can say that customers today want to know where the materials that made their product came from, and they want to know that a piece of rainforest wasn't destroyed for their new table, or that a number of trees were planted to compensate for the loss. They also want to know that nobody was exploited during the manufacturing process, and that the product was kept in reasonable conditions. The bottom line is, customers want more and more information about the products they're buying, and the trend is only accelerating as more and more retail sales transfer online. And anybody who is familiar with the way in which businesses work will know that if you don't give your customers what they want, at least to the standard of quality if not higher, somebody else will come in and fill the gap in the market which you failed to satisfy, and you won't be in business for very long. I mean, I don't think that there are many people who think that consumers are demanding less and less information. The trend is fairly easy to see, but the thing is, in order to make big money, an investor has to look beyond the current state of the trend and figure out who will be the real winners once the trend begins to mature and realize its potential. I can't give you a list of every company in the world and then tell you which ones I feel will do well and which won't, but luckily I don't need to, because if an investor can accurately identify a few home run investments and then stick with them for the long term, they can do extremely well. From what I can see, VeChain is optimally positioned to experience massive growth as a result of being the market leader in an area for which demand is soaring, and will likely continue to grow at an even quicker pace as a result of initial adoption acting as a catalyst for further adoption. Remember, I said that in business, you have to give your customers what they want, or else somebody else will. So by this logic, once adoption starts to become a more common thing, that's when we're likely to see the real explosion in demand. As at the moment, even though VeChain have a few notable users, it's not yet the case that the average smaller or medium-sized business are feeling the effects of competition using technologies like those which VeChain offer to better serve customers. But once the average business begins to feel the effects on their sales of not having technology like VeChain's, that's when I believe they'll start looking for such services to close the competitive gap and then restore sales. You see, adoption doesn't occur in a uniform manner because business just doesn't work that way. Say you have 100 businesses using VeChain services or similar technologies. Now say that each of those businesses has 10 direct competitors for the sake of simplicity. Now that's 1,000 businesses who have a direct competitor using technology, which makes them better than their competition in some way, and therefore 1,000 businesses who will be looking around frantically for a way to close that gap. When you're a business owner, you're already busy devoting your time and effort to running your own business. So when you need to use the services of a third party, especially when the business which the third party operates in is a very new and high-tech business, you tend to go for quality and reputation, so being the first in that space, VeChain have a huge first mover's advantage here. Now imagine that instead of 1,000 businesses feeling the pressure of direct competitors using technologies like VeChain's, you have 1,000,000 businesses or 5 million businesses globally feeling that pressure. This is when we'll start to see the real growth in demand. There are roughly 30 million businesses in the USA and about 200 million worldwide, give or take. Now of course there's always going to be a portion of businesses who either just don't need or don't want services like those VeChain provide. But I'd bet that a substantial portion of those 200 million businesses would benefit from being able to provide their customers with more information in some way. And all of these businesses will have competitors who will want to keep up with them technologically speaking. And again, I'm not saying that all of these businesses will go to VeChain. Many bigger businesses will build their own systems, and if VeChain does begin to realize mainstream success, there will naturally be a lot of competition trying to get as much market share as they can. However, most businesses aren't large businesses but instead small businesses, and they won't be building their own systems. They'll probably be looking for the services of an established blockchain platform. And again, from my standpoint at least, VeChain are well positioned to capitalize on the demand of smaller and larger organizations for blockchain-based supply chain management services. The annual revenue of small businesses alone globally is estimated to be in the trillions, and so considering the current market capitalization of VeChain would only need to capture a minuscule portion of those businesses' custom to grow the platform many times over. Anything else would be a bonus. Anyway, that's all for this video. If you enjoyed today's analysis and you'd like to see more content like this, then be sure to subscribe. Thanks for watching.